Good morning. You're watching Today in Parliament with me, Aishwarya Kapoor. These are the headlines. General discussion on interim budget to begin in the Lok Sabha today. Finance Minister to also introduce a Finance Bill 2019 and Appropriation Bills 2019. Private members' legislative business to be taken up in Rajya Sabha today. Bill to address decline in Parliament productivity moved by Naresh Gujral to be discussed in the upper house. Rajkumar Dhoot to introduce bill to provide compulsory yoga and sports education in schools. Private member bill to demand for setting up of Indian Tourism Promotion Corporation listed for discussion in the Lok Sabha today. Bill seeks for the development of tourism in the country. Several other private bills of public importance listed for discussion in the lower house. General discussion on interim budget will begin in the Lok Sabha today. After the Finance Minister presents the Union budget, Parliament holds a general discussion and a vote on demands for grants. And in the general discussion, the House discusses the budget, but no motions can be moved and no voting takes place. The House will also discuss and vote on the demands for grants on account for the year 2019-20 today. Finance Minister Piyush Goyal will also move the Finance Bill 2019 for consideration and passing in the lower house today. Piyush Goyal will move the bill to continue the existing rates of income tax for the financial year 2019-20 and to provide for certain relief to the taxpayers and to make amendments in certain enactments. The Finance Minister will also move the appropriation bills for introduction, consideration and passing. These include the appropriation vote on account bill 2019 to provide for the withdrawal of certain sums from and out of the Consolidated Fund of India for the services of a part of the financial year 2019-20 and the appropriation bill 2019 to authorize payment and appropriation of certain further sums from and out of the Consolidated Fund of India for the services of the financial year 2018-19. And private members' legislative business will be taking place in both the houses today. A total of 35 bills are for introduction and 6 bills for consideration and passing are listed in today's business of the upper house. And in Lok Sabha, a total of 74 private member bills, in which 68 bills for introduction and 6 bills for consideration and passing are listed in today's business of the lower house. All right, our colleague Akhilesh Suman is now joining us live from Parliament. Akhilesh, private members' legislative business will take place in both the houses today because it is Friday. And, speaking first about Lok Sabha, after motion of thanks was adopted by the lower house yesterday, today discussion on the interim budget is scheduled.
Right, interim budget is, very important because this is the last budget of the government and the government has been telling that we have presented it like a budget. And it is prerogative of the government that whether what restraints it keeps, what type of budget it takes for the people of the country, and that is why it is considered to be a budget. And whoever comes in the government after the election, they will also review and they will see that whether this budget is okay according to the demands of the day or not. After this fact that interim budget has come today, but what I am getting from my sources that there is a again Congress and opposition are trying to rake up the issue of Rafale today in the Parliament, and that may impact the proceedings in the very first half of the both houses of Parliament. And given the fact that so many private bills are pending for introduction and also for passing, it will be a tough day for also the members and also the government, because after yesterday's high-pitched debate between the opposition and the Treasury benches, and after very energetic speech and reply by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, today is again going to be a very heated day for both opposition and Treasury benches today in the House, and it will be very interesting to see that how it turns up within 1 hour. The House convenes today in the morning. Aishwarya?
Right, Akhilesh. But the main worry really is Rajya Sabha, because we've seen at least Lok Sabha has been working But Rajya Sabha is witnessing repeated adjournments taking place every day. And in fact, a discussion on motion of thanks to the President's address is also still pending. What are the indications for today?
You know that Rajya Sabha, the whole configuration of the House is very skewed, and opposition feels that it has an upper hand in Rajya Sabha, and that is how much of the disruptions are going on in Rajya Sabha for last many years. So in that way, you can see that in Rajya Sabha also today it is going to be a very tough day, because we were expecting that debate on motion of thanks will take place today, and there were talks that opposition and the treasury benches are talking that let us skip the question hour today, let us also skip the private members time today, and let us discuss the motion of thanks. But I think no consensus could be reached, and business is as usual as far as it is listed. But again, I think the way you had been seeing that Rajya Sabha is getting disrupted over one issue or the other, and yesterday also there was a roster issue in the morning, and then we expected that in the afternoon it may go smooth, but it could not go smooth. And today we feel that Congress is trying to rake up again the issue of Rafale today, according to some news that has come in some newspapers today. So I think that Rajya Sabha is also going to have a tough day today, Aishwarya.
Absolutely, and interestingly, there is a private member's bill that has also been listed that actually addresses these concerns over repeated adjournments and repeated disruptions in Parliament. Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for all those updates there from Parliament. And in the agenda of Rajya Sabha today, many private member bills are listed. Among them are MP T. Subbarami Reddy to introduce the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Amendment Bill 2018, the Railways Amendment Bill 2018 and the Employment Bill 2018. MP Rajkumar Dhoot will introduce the Compulsory Yoga and Sports Education in Schools Bill 2018, the Protection of Farmers' Families Bill 2018 and the Prevention of Contamination of Groundwater Bill 2018. MP Ripun Bora will introduce the Armed Forces Special Powers Repeal Bill 2018, the Women Equal Participation in International Peace Negotiations, Treaties and Agreements Bill 2018 and the National Anthem Modification Bill 2018. And following ministers will lay papers on the table in the Rajya Sabha today. Ram Vilas Paswan for the Ministry of Micro, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. Radha Mohan Singh for the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare. Manoj Sinha for the Ministry of Communications. S.S. Aluwalia for the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Rajen Gohain for the Ministry of Railways. Parshottam Rupala for the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare. Mansukh Mandavia for the Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. Gajendra Singh Shekhawat for the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare. And members C.P. Thakur and Ramkumar Kashyap will present the 156th report of the committee on papers laid on the table in Rajya Sabha on delayed laying of annual reports and audited accounts of a Central Adoption Resource Authority, MTNL. And in the lower house, in private members' legislative business, a member P. Karunakaran will introduce the amendment of Section 15 of Advocates Amendment Bill 2017. Member Gajanan Kirtikar will introduce the Mobile Camera Phone Users Code of Conduct Bill 2017, which aims to provide for a code of conduct for the users of mobile camera phones at public places and to regulate their use by children. Member Sukhbir Singh will introduce the Agricultural Workers Welfare Bill 2018, which aims to provide for the welfare of agricultural workers. He will also introduce the Destitute Women and Widows Welfare Bill 2018 to provide for the welfare of the destitute women and widows. And following ministers will lay papers on the table in the Lok Sabha today. J.P. Nadda for the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Shripad Yesu Naik for the Ministry of Ayush. Mahesh Sharma for the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change. Radhakrishnan P for the Ministry of Finance. Also, Shiv Pratap Shukla for the Ministry of Finance. Ashwini Kumar Chaubey for the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Anupriya Patel also for the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Also in the Lok Sabha today, member Rajkumar Singh is going to make a statement regarding the status of the implementation of the recommendations contained in the 29th report of the Standing Committee on Energy on action taken by the government on the recommendations contained in the 26th report of the Committee on Demands for Grants 2017-18 pertaining to the Ministry of Power. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Today in Parliament. Do stay tuned. The proceedings of the Upper House are going to commence in a short while from now. Thanks for watching.